Okay, let's begin. Hi there, it's Thursday. We've been a week. We've been doing this a week. This is my new week of lives that I'm enjoying so much. I really, really am. And I thank you, all those of you who've been hanging out with me all week. Thank you ever so much. We talked this week. I began talking to you about a vocabulary of experiences. A vocabulary of experiences is the I don't know, the vocabulary you have, the repertoire you have from which you can draw for new things, for new situations, new needs, new new things that crop up in your life that need to be addressed, that need to be handled, that need to be enjoyed. Your vocabulary of or that need to be brought together and created. So a new situation arises, and you have to create something new, a new way of being, a different part of you has to come out. And I recommend it very strongly that you develop and that you expand, widen, deepen, strengthen, raise, whatever word works for you, the best possible vocabulary of experiences. That means trying things, doing new things, learning new things. And I know, women often don't have the time. We say we're just busy with so many other things, taking care of so many other things and so many other people, that often we find we say we don't have time. And so we don't take the time for ourselves. The roles, the responsibilities that are foisted upon women and that we just take on and assume, not that there's anything wrong with any of it, it's just that so often we forget, we ignore the fact that we can take better care of those things and people that we want to take care of if we take better care of ourselves. We forget that. We run ourselves ragged, we run ourselves into the ground, we kill ourselves to do all of these things. When actually, if we took the time to take care of ourselves, we could actually do all of those things and enjoy life, have a good life for ourselves. And so this week was about reinforcing that and sharing that and saying, go out, develop yourself, create yourself a vocabulary of experiences that will get you through stuff. And of course, one of the most important pieces of that is physical health and creating the best possible state of physical health for ourselves begins obviously with taking care, being intentional, deliberate, purposeful about taking care of ourselves, about strengthening our bodies. And as we strengthen our bodies, I said also that all these things are all connected. When you strengthen one part of you, you get inspired to the other parts strengthen, or you get inspired to actually work on strengthening them. So when you work on your physical well-being, what always happens is that your emotional well-being often increases, your intellectual well-being, your spiritual well-being, your psychological, your mental, all those other not so physical things, not so tangible, they improve. You begin to feel better and more able to deal with anything that comes your way. I also said that one of the important things for us all to consider is, and to bear in mind actually, is that when one woman succeeds, all of us win. And so supporting one another in finding this strength and developing this vocabulary of experiences is really, really important. It's a good thing to do. It's a critical thing to do. It's a valuable thing to do. Support other women. And then I also said that when one woman fails, or when one woman is oppressed, we all are. Until and as long as any women in the world are oppressed because they are women, or are pushed back or pushed down. All of us are. Every single one of us is. Because what happens to one happens to all of us, for better and for worse. And the examples I gave were, I explained how, the world is really, really small. Yeah. Marshall McLuhan's global village is here. It has been here for a while. It gets smaller and smaller every day. What happens over there happens over here, affects us over here, hurts us over here, or helps us over here. What we do over here, what happens to us over here, helps, hurts over there, up there, down there. We're all that deeply connected. So until and unless all of us are quote unquote free, safe, secure, equal, none of us is. And it's really very simple. You travel, we all travel. We travel, or other people travel to us. And we bring and we carry who we are. So when they come with what they are. When we go with what we are. Some years ago, a cousin of mine lent me a book called Wherever You Go, There You Are. I don't remember much of what the book said, but I remember what it meant. Wherever you go, there you are. No matter where you go, you carry with you all of your luggage. And everybody does that. So when across the ocean, there are women who are being abused, men and societies that are abusing and demeaning and belittling women, members of that society travel and they come to ours and they bring that. The same thing the other way around. When in our communities, we belittle and demean women, when we travel over there, we do the same thing. We don't become a different person because we're in a different country. And we move around really, 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 really fast. COVID has created some inconveniences and some difficulties for travel, but they're temporary. They're going away. And we're going back to quote unquote some state of normalcy, right? We'll be able to travel still. And we will be taking with us everything that we are. So yes, whatever happens to one of us affects, aka happens, to all of the others of us. And so it is important that we look out for one another. Now, in order to look out for one another, we have to first look out for ourselves. We have to look after ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to be fit and ready, as ready and as strong and as healthy and as capable as we could possibly be. Yes? And so with that kind of responsibility, we have to take care of our physical self. And it's both not very difficult and can be quite difficult. Not very difficult because you can just walk. Just be intentional, deliberate, and consistent about walking. And what is this? My blouse is all crooked because it's not missing a button. It just doesn't have one. Okay, so let me do that. Okay. We get to be intentional and deliberate about taking care of ourselves, our physical health, and walking, like I said, is basic. Walking is easy for most of us, and it's fundamental, it's basic. We can, almost all of us, do it. And when we can't, the other things we can do. And just walking, just getting out and walking a mile or two every day does wonders for our bodies, for our state of physical health, and for our mental, emotional, psychological, and spiritual health. There's no two ways about that. I've experienced it. I've heard people talk about it. I've seen it happen with other people. And I know that you know. I know that you all must have experienced it at some point. And I talk then also about food, about how we eat, because two of the things that contribute most to our state of health are obviously our physical fitness, our how much we participate in physical exercise and strengthening our physique, and how we eat. More and more in all parts of the world, people are eating less and less healthy food. Some years ago, just a few years ago, I read a study done in China among Chinese people, and because the Chinese government was concerned about the rise in obesity among the Chinese population. America has for decades had that problem. At one point, I read something that said about 60% of Americans were overweight, and 30 something, I can't remember the percentage, that were actually obese, which means that they're unhealthy. If you're overweight, there's something going on with your body or with your discipline that's not working. Either we eat too much and we're not exercising, or there's something medically wrong, that our bodies are not doing what they're supposed to do. Because like other animals, like all other animals, if we have too much fat and not enough muscle, our bodies don't work properly. We have too much fat around our inner organs. Our lungs, our heart has to work harder. Our lungs don't work so well. Our circulation doesn't work so well. Our brains don't work. Our reflexes and instincts don't work so well. So it's important to be healthy and take care of the physical part of us. And the physical part of us requires also that we manage what we eat, and that we eat purposefully, deliberately, intentionally. Just eating for the sake of eating, we've come past that. Maybe when we were living in caves, we did that, and I doubt it. Otherwise, we would not have developed the use of spices and salts. Think about that. Flavor enhancers. If we ate only for the sake of eating, if when we were in our most primitive state, we ate only for the sake of eating, just because our body needed nourishment, I think that we would not have developed the cuisine that we have as human beings developed. Makes sense. It seems logical to me. There's a truck going by, a big old truck. It seems logical to me. But we like the taste. And so we begin to experiment because we want the flavors and the enhancements and the sweet and the sour and the bitter and the salt and we want those and we enjoy those. So we've come this far, and then we want to eat, just scarf down a $2 hamburger every day. Come on. Even if you don't have a lot of money, rather than buying the hamburger from McDonald's or somewhere, and like I said, you can do that sometimes, of course, but rather than doing that every day, what if you bought some meat and did it yourself? Some healthy meat and did it yourself, and just savored. Get the taste, the difference in taste and the enjoyment of this simple hamburger. And so I encourage you to eat well. Eat as well as you possibly can. If you live in a place where fruits and vegetables are abundant, they're on the trees, in the forests, down the street, or in the supermarkets, get them. Eat the best food you can afford, really. And you will find that the better you eat, also very often the less you need to eat, because you're satisfying so many of your senses when you eat well. You're satisfying your taste buds, you're satisfying your body, you're satisfying your sensory, the other sensory aspects. Smell, feel, to texture, and your eyes, how they look. And when you do that, you'll find that you need less of the thing. Also, when you just eat for the sake of it, you just scarf things down, you don't take your time to taste them or to it. Come on, we can do better than that. We can do better than that. So I encourage you to eat for pleasure, eat for enjoyment, eat for taste. I don't know how many other ways to say that. And then I want to offer one other thing today to help you with this. All of us have different periods, different time, different difficult periods. Yes, every single one of us has difficult times. They come. No matter how happy you are or have been, they will come. You lose something or someone. You get disappointed over something. Something will not work for you. Somebody will go away. You'll get ill. Now, being real, being pragmatic and objective about life requires that we acknowledge that this will happen and we prepare. We strengthen ourselves. We strengthen our bodies. We strengthen our minds, our spirits, our souls. And one of the things that we can do is, and I recommend this very strongly, find something that belongs to us, that resonates with us, that we can depend. And I said something, not someone, something that we can depend on always. So, for example, when we are happy, we'll do that. When we are sad, we'll do that. When we are grieving, we'll do that. When we are rejoicing and celebrating, we'll do that thing. I have a couple of them. One is walking. Literally, I just go out and walk. I feel my body move. And one is getting near water. Some people listen to music. For me, when I'm unhappy, I can't listen to music. Music is a happy place for me. So when I'm not listening to music, people around me know that there's something's not going so well. Yeah. But when I am happy, sad, grieving, or anything else, I go walk, or better yet, I go walk near the water, or walk in the water. Always, always, always. There's some people who play an instrument. There are some people who cook. I know people who, when they're happy, they go bake, they go cook for their friends and family, and they send food all over the place. And when they're sad, they cook. It's therapy. It's therapy. I want to suggest to you that you find something like that. And if you don't have one, if you haven't identified one yet, look in your vocabulary of experiences, see the things that you have done, and see if there's any one or two that really, really fill your soul when you participate, when you do them. See if there are any. And if there aren't, then go try other things, do stuff, go meet people and experiment and have experiences and see which ones resonate. Remember when I was growing up, my mother was one of those mothers who, she believed this. She wanted her children to try everything that there was to try. And if you didn't like it, well, okay, you didn't like it, but you had to try it in order to get to understand that you didn't like it or it wouldn't work for you. And so, for example, I've told this story so many times. She sent us to Girl Guides because it was one of those things that you do. I went to Girl Guides, did not like it. And I didn't like it not because it was Girl Guides, but because in the same place, the same schoolyard, the same school building, after school hours, where we went to Girl Guides, the Boy Scouts also were there. And I used to watch these Boy Scouts come, meet up with their captains and so on, and then go off into the wilderness on nature walks and to look for this and to do that and to go, do stuff. And we were stuck learning to do hem stitch and buck stitch and buttonholes and things, and to cook. I told Mom I didn't want to go back. And she said, yeah, okay, we'll just finish out the year then, shall we? And she made me stay the year. And somewhere along that year, guess what happened? I didn't know I stopped going. I did stop going. But I learned to bake pineapple upside down cake. And I do a really, really good pineapple upside down cake, the best you'll ever taste. So there's something in everything. The point is, she made me have that experience. And out of that came something. So during COVID, for example, the first year, I did a lot of baking, even bread. Because sometimes I feel the need to cook. Not to cook, I cook a lot. And I'm quite good at it. But baking, I actually went baking. I baked cakes and I baked bread. And I even did pastries. Yeah. Because I had tried them before. And so I have to say, a lot of time when I heard a lot of people talking about being so bored and so, listless about being home alone and not being allowed to go out, I get it. I got tired of it after a while. But I also had things to keep me busy. And that was because I had the vocabulary of experiences to rely on. I could dig into my chest, as it were, into my treasure chest, and pull out something to do. That's what having a vocabulary of experiences gives us. That's the privilege, the leg up that it gives us. And it also gives us these things that we can find to rely on. Yes. Some people sail. When things are going bad, they go out on the sea. When things are going well, they take the sailboat and they go out. Some people do yoga. Some people read. Some people eat. Have fabulous meals when they're celebrating. Have fabulous meals when I am not feeling good, I don't eat. When I'm feeling good, I eat. When I'm not feeling good, I don't eat. But whatever I'm doing, whether I feel good, whether I feel bad, whether I'm celebrating or I'm grieving, one of the things that I reach for is my sneakers and I go walk, or my hiking boots, so I could just go out in nature and walk. Not run, not jump, just go walk. Or I get to the beach and I take off my shoes and I walk on the sand and I walk in the water and I just walk alone. Alone. And that's the other thing that I'd like to say before we end today. One of the things that we get to do, it's important that we learn to do, is to be alone, to spend time in solitude. Because one of the things that caused challenges and problems for some people during the pandemic, when we were all locked in, sheltered in place and whatever else, was they had to be alone with themselves and didn't know what to do. And some of them went stark raving mad. Some of them pretty much lost their marbles. They were climbing the walls because they didn't know how to be alone. You know what I do when I'm alone sometimes? I talk to myself. I have conversations with myself. And I challenge myself. It's important. It really is important that we spend time with ourselves. And all of this that I'm talking about boils down to that, about making ourselves important in our own lives. Taking the time, doing the things, learning the things, having the relationships, creating the opportunities, taking advantage of the opportunities that serve us. There's nothing selfish about taking care of yourself. Quite the contrary. If you really want to be taking care of people, you must first take care of yourself. If you're not taking care of yourself and you're taking care of children, you have a problem. You won't be able to keep up. You won't be able to give them what they need from you. And so as far as is possible, take the best possible care of you. The only person you really have is you. So when things get rough, the person you have to rely on most of all, only actually, is you. Other people you can rely on, of course, but they're not always going to be there. Even with the best of will, they will be there almost all of the time, but it's possible that there will be times when they won't be there. And this vocabulary, this treasure chest that you have built up, will provide you with what you need to get through those times, to walk yourself through, to lift yourself out of. One is your physical strength, physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health, and what I call your own self. There's no health for it. There's nothing else to it except you. Being able to rely on yourself means giving yourself intentionally, deliberately, purposefully, giving yourself, acquiring for yourself the resources that you need for when you're rejoicing and for when you're grieving, for when you're disappointed and when you're pleased, for when you're happy and when you're sad, for when things are going well and especially when things are not going so well. We rely on people, but we also have to understand and remember that people also have their lives. They have their own lives. And sometimes, as much as they would want to be there, they just literally cannot, because they'd be depriving themselves or some other people who are just as important as we are, and they have to make a choice. Or just life is just like that and they just cannot be there. So go out and create yourself, find yourself, acquire yourself a vocabulary of experiences. In the process, take good care of your body. Get exercise, eat well, Enjoy your food. Take pleasure in the tastes, the flavors, the textures, the smells, the visible aspects of the food that you eat. Share it with friends. Share your time with people. Build good relationships. Take time for yourself. Take time to be alone with yourself and find something. Reach into your bag of tricks, reach into your treasure chest and pull out something that you can always, 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 always rely on. Something that's always there for you. This thing that gets you through when you're celebrating and that gets you through when the last thing in the world you want to do or have any reason to do is celebrate. Because we need these things that get us through. And when we don't, we get lost. And we don't want to get lost. Because what? Because we have these wonderful, wonderful, wonderful lives that we want to live. Creating, contributing to the world, contributing all the best that we have to this world of which we're a part. Because ultimately, that's what it's all about. We are here not just to pass through and take what's there to be had. We are here to do an exchange. We get and we give. We get and we give. We get and we give and we receive. We receive and then we give some more. And because we're women, we have the added responsibility to look out for other women. Because women all over the world, women everywhere in the world are at a disadvantage and are not able as a whole to contribute most of, even the, in some instances, literally none of the positive, productive, helpful, uplifting things, talents, gifts, abilities that we've come with. Because women come with talents and gifts as well. In much of the world, in nowhere in the world are women as a whole free to just contribute the best, the most that they want. And as a matter of fact, in many parts of the world, they're not allowed to at all. And if we're interested at all in having a world that is better for us having been here, that when we leave, it's even just a tiny little bit better, the first thing we have to do is look after ourselves, give ourselves, find ourselves, acquire for ourselves the teachings, the learnings that expand and develop the gifts and talents and abilities we come with and share them. And I go right back to the only way to do that is to be intentional, purposeful, deliberate about taking care of ourselves, developing ourselves, looking after ourselves, making sure that we are developing and that we are able to give the best of ourselves to the people closest to us and then let it ripple out. So tomorrow is our last day for this particular set of lives. And tomorrow we'll talk about what comes afterwards. Because I've been reading some of the things that people say. It's interesting. When I'm on here, I see 2, 3, 4 people, and then I log off and I see that there are 28 views and 74 views and things like that. And I'm grateful. I thank you all very, very, very much. And I look forward to you participating some more. And what we will be doing after this is creating the opportunity so that you can participate. I've had people ask me also to bring other people on to the live so we can talk. That will require some coordination, and we will get to that. Right now, what we're doing is just sort of getting comfortable, getting clear on what our goals are, where we want to go, how we're going to be doing this. And then, of course, just kind of get going. And we're doing that next week. Tomorrow is our last day for the week. And then next week, we sort of, if for a better term, get down to the long-term business. And let me also invite you before I go to join us for the Women's Leadership Circle this month, week after next. It's the last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of the month, Women's Leadership Circle. You can register at shirleyosborne.com. It's $5 a circle, $5 a sitting, because we sit in circle. And we get to have conversations with women from around the world on these and other matters. Serious things like politics and health and so on, and cool, fun things like, the best pineapple upside down cake and the best pair of high heel shoes and things like that. So thank you all very, very much for being here with me this evening. And if you're watching this after after today, then thank you anyway. Thank you very much for logging on whenever you do. I hope you get something valuable from these, at least as much as I get from being able to share these with you. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow. Take good care.